Get a sponsorship ad gently teased into the earphones of 100,000 plus highly engaged listeners, both within this show and promoting our partnership across Acast's other hit podcast. The Noise Next Door will even get creative and make your ad for you. Contact us through this app or via producerpool.co.uk, and we'll tell you more.
Today on Fantasy-5, Game of Thrones versus Star Wars. This is the podcast where we, the Noise Next Door, create five-a-side football teams using characters from fiction, history, and real life. Then we see these teams battle it out on the pitch to see who will be crowned victorious. I'm Robin, and I'm joined by Tom, and we are this week's pundits.
Indeed, we are, Robin. It's our job to provide criticism and insight into the lineups that our managers select, and then later we'll be in charge of the highlights from today's game.
Today, our managers are Matt and Sam. First up, we've got Matt. What is your team today, Matt?
I've got Team Star Wars. I'm in a gold bikini. The whole team's in a gold bikini. We have a kit. We have a plan.
And we also have a winner if that's happening, but let's see how it plays out. We've got manager 2. Sam, who have you got today?
Today, I am dipping into George R.R. Martin's masterful world of Song of Ice and Fire, otherwise known as Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, I haven't. I've just started watching that. Can you not do any spoilers? Can you not talk about it? I'm like a few episodes in. I really like Jason Momoa's character. I'm hoping he really sticks it out. But if you just every time you're going to say anything about it, just tell me. I'll earplug.
There will be ginormous spoilers ahead.
Well, listen, that's a seamless segue because, as ever, there is a quick spoiler warning. Whilst we'll be focusing mainly on the footballing prowess of Star Wars and Game of Thrones, Sam has said, definitely going to be some spoilers coming ahead. I would argue that's all there's going to be, so you have been warned. Also, please head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast and follow our podcast. Review it if you can. It's 5 stars for us. Now, without further ado, let's go and hear those fantasy fives. So, starting with our home team, that's you, Matt. Talk us through your Fantasy 5.
I'm going to begin in goal with Jabba the Hutt. Forget Crystal Palace, we're talking Jabba's Palace. Okay? I think a technique, if you're going to be a goalie, and it's not often actually taken by real goalies, but try and big as you can and fill the goal with your mass immensity, okay? This guy's just a great big kind of bag of, I don't know, guts and stuff. He's massive, fills the goal. Airtight. Oh, what's that? Jabba's leaving the goal? See ya? No. So we're going to block him. He's going to be a cork for the goal. I figure he can absorb impact as well, kind of like a garbage bag full of wet leaves. So we're not going to have any issues with the ball boinging off him. It's going to stick in him, and he's going to pluck it out of his fat and just throw it back.
I was going to ask about the consistency of the fat. I wasn't sure if it had sort of like, a springiness to it, but you're imagining more of like a dough-like effect. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. Now he's not just going to rely on his heft. He's also got some little tricks up his sleeve. I figure Jabba the Hutt, he's always going to have a little trap door just in front of him, in this case just in front of the goal, that can drop people down into a rancor pit.
Yeah.
I think it's allowed. I think it's fine. Doesn't need to be questioned.
I've got a question about this, actually. It's an early controversy, which is, I would say, Matt's MO when picking Fantasy 5-a-side teams. But I want to go to Tom, the referee here. What was the name of the monster in the pit there, Matt, did you say? A rancor.
Rancor.
Amazing. Tom, is the Rancor considered another player? Does that mean that Matt's already selected 2 players, or are we happy that this is an accessory?
Now, I think its positioning below the pitch is important here. If the Rancor was on the pitch, it would definitely be a player, but this is a trapdoor to another thing beneath the pitch. I would say this counts as an accessory because it's not on the pitch itself.
Very good. A completely fair and accurate ruling there from our referee for today. All right, Matt, you're allowed the Rancor. Carry on with the tactic.
That's beautiful, yeah. So, if you're not familiar, in Return of the Jedi in his palace, he's got this little pit, and there's a monster down there, and it eats people. So that's the theory. If the attackers of the baddies are coming toward the goal, pit, open, fall down, eaten by a monster, he hasn't technically fouled anyone. It's his Rancor. Victimless crime.
I mean,
cool.
I suppose that opens a whole world of interest, doesn't it? Because if you shoot somebody, then you've not technically done anything. It's all the bullet that's done. The bullet's done all the work there.
Yeah. In hindsight, that doesn't often stand up in court, does it? Yeah. All right, fair enough. It's a red card if your Rancor eats someone. But maybe it's worth it. Certainly, even just having a pit is quite cumbersome if you're the enemy team. So I'm going to have he's gonna eat loads of pies, fill out the goal, and have a hole in front of him. Which, hey, let's be honest, if he's eating loads of food and he's there for 90 minutes, he's going to need to get rid of it somehow. So let's assume that the pit is filled with his own poop. Now,
there was a story recently, or not recently, within the last few years in football, about a goalkeeper that went really far. Was it in the FA Cup? And he ate a pie during the game.
Piegate.
Piegate. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember
pie
this.
in a game.
Yeah, but there was didn't he? Am I right in thinking that he put a bet on? So him and his family put on a bet that he would be shown on camera eating a pie, and he was shown on camera eating a pie because it was just like a part-time footballer basically shoveling a pie in his face, and Sky Sports picked up on it.
His name was Wayne Shaw, and the Sun specifically told him to eat a pie during half-time so that they could get a bunch of illegal bets on it, and then they got found out.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
Oh, man. Well, if the Sun does that, I mean, in Star Wars, there's at least 2 suns, so there's going to be double the chances of that happening. Yeeks. I'll talk about his off-game bonuses for the team as well. So on the days off, he can actually invite the whole team back to his floating pleasure skiff to boink sex slaves and listen to discordant sort of woodwind bands. So that's kind of nice. A lot of footballers probably have a yacht. He's got a floating sex skiff.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that.
Sponsorship money as well, Matt?
He's got a lot of sponsorship space on his actual body, so I suppose you could put a bunch of logos on him.
Yeah,
Probably
and his
food.
name is literally Jabba the Hutt, so surely Pizza Hut want a slice of that action.
Slice. Good.
There it is. Yeah, Pizza the Hut emblemed on him.
Yeah.
They'll be Tatooine-ing him. Oh my goodness. We're just having so much fun. Now, my final word is I'm already thinking about, like, Jabba the Hutt's, he's not the best enunciator, so he won't be captain because his commands are just a little bit too confusing. When he speaks, it's like, so he's not going to be captain. He can't speak good. So
He can't speak good?
He can't speak good. Moving forward, I have an attacker, and his name is Yoda. The Jedi Master Yoda. He's the little green dude with the pointy ears. Now, there's a tactic I tried to use many episodes ago on my Marvel team, where I figured the Hulk, he's green. If he gets naked, lies down on a pitch, he'll be a disguised hill. It was a perfect tactic. Didn't work out in the end, because it turns out that the pitch was not actually green at all. And also, it was a stupid idea. So I have improved on it. Yoda is green. So he's going to get naked. Same exact idea, except this time he'll actually run around and move. Now, it's going to be good. Yeah, controversial. He's not going to pretend to be a very small hill. So he runs around naked, which essentially means he's invisible. Everyone's looking down at him, you see, so it's all they see is grass and nudity. It'll merge perfectly. Now, he's obviously a Jedi Master, so he can use the Force. He can use his magic hands to float the ball wherever he wants it without actually being a handball. So that's pretty good. Also, now you might think he's a little bit old and like slow, but in Attack of the Clones, he can jump and flip. He can jump to the height of an average man. So that means that he can do almost a header. I mean, that's pretty good. If the ball is coming in at just face height, he can header it, which I think is really admirable.
Did you say he's an attacker, Matt? An attacking player?
Attacking player. My main theory is thinking that if he's invisible, if he's naked and invisible, running with the ball, that's great. He can go between the legs all the way up to the goal. Oh my gosh, why is that ball kicking itself? Is the tactic. That is the tactic.
I mean, I like the idea of I'm first of all admiring your tenacity at sticking with this naked green filler thing. It didn't work at all for the Marvel, like you said, but you're just going to keep plugging away. I suppose my main thing is that if I see something that is the same color as the thing it's on, it isn't invisible. I can still sort of see it because of shadow and depth and things like that. So
whoa!
I just think that maybe your assumption that he's going to be completely invisible is politely an utter sack of shit.
Right. Well, okay. Ask a makeup artist. Ask a beautiful woman. Hey, how do you get rid of your shadow and depth? Makeup. I work out all those little blemishes and contours. So Yoda, who has a sponsorship deal with Max Factor, has to suddenly kind of remove all of his blemishes to make it totally frictionless and smooth looking. Way harder to see. Hey, why not? Even just paint grass on him. I think that's allowed. And obviously he'll have to close his eyes and mouth so they don't give him away.
That'll make him very good at football.
He's got his eyes closed.
Closing his eyes is going to be really helpful.
Well, In Star Wars, they love telling you to close your eyes whenever you're doing something really important with the Force. Like, they never want you to look at that stuff. It's all about... He always closes his eyes when he's, like, lifting an X-Wing out of a bog.
Potentially, Yoda could just stand in the center circle with his eyes closed and just play the whole game from there using the power of the Force.
He really would. He really would. And no one would know he was there because he's got a sponsor to do with Max Factor. I've also realised he won't be captain because his commands are also too confusing. You know, pass the ball back, do not. Oh, no, I've already passed it back. Why didn't you? So, yeah, he's not going to be the captain. Also, I did realise, I'm going to point out his own flaw. Now, Yoda does have a tendency to run away when the opposition is on the attack. This happens in Star Wars. And when he runs away, I mean, he really hides for so long that he becomes a myth. So he's an attacker and he's going to be great at it. But if the other team decide to attack, he will run away for generations and never come back. So that's his only downside, other than he has 3 dimensions that can be seen by the naked eye. Pretty good play. Now, I thought, okay, so yeah, he's not the best. So I have another attacker. And it's not just because all I know so far is goal, attack, defense, but it is the reason why. So my other attacker is Jar Jar Binks.
What?
So, yeah, Jar Jar Binks, who's the one in The Phantom Menace who was not universally liked. He's the one that talks like this, and he's like a crazy little fish man, and he's really annoying, see? So I've chosen Jar Jar Binks. First and foremost, no one sees him as a threat.
It's true.
You're going to look at that guy and go, why would any idiot pick him? I'm not even going to bother trying to tackle him. Oh, no, he's not going to hit with the ball. Not a threat, but he is a threat. In the Phantom Menace, in the one film that he was in before he was really phased out quite hard, there's a big battle at the end, and the bad guys all have these big energy balls. In fact, no, the good guys, in fact, have energy balls, and they're all in this big wheelbarrow. And then, I don't know the names of all the things, and he mistakenly releases all of the magic balls and takes out loads of the enemy. He, kills robots and tanks and everything. So actually, even though he's not deliberately doing it, he's amazing with ball skills. I mean, his balls everywhere, they're taking people down. So he's pretty good. He's a pretty good baller.
You're saying he's got previous experience with spherical objects, and that means he'll be good at football. Just checking the exact...
He has accidental... skills with balls.
Accidental success with balls in the past.
Yeah, but at crucial moments.
The accidental element of it to me means, how are you going to train this guy? Surely you're just going to have to hope that when he messes up, he does it the right way. Is that the tactic? Like, when he messes up, which he's definitely going to do, hopefully sometimes it will benefit us.
Yeah, well, yeah. Essentially, that's it. You sort of just pull the pull string on him and just see what happens. But ultimately, if he's always going to do it at the right moment, that's pretty good. He actually does have another little skill, which is his way around the pitch. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, I should run across the top of the pitch. But as we've all established, there's an underground network of tunnels underneath the pitch. So one thing that he does also in Star Wars is that he just seems to know the secret ways through the planet's core, through all the waterways. So... if he wants to get from one end of the pitch to the other, he just dives into a puddle, uses the secret caves through the planet core, and comes up with a puddle at the enemy goal. And he's already done the whole pitch. And only he knows these things. So that's pretty handy. I'm pretty sure it would be used. But now, it's something I really, in my research...
I'm crying a little bit at this one.
In my research, I found the best thing about Jar Jar Binks. Okay, in The Phantom Menace, he is an outcast who is then a general who is then a political representative for an entire people and species, which basically makes him exactly as successful as Russell Crowe in Gladiator. Literally outcast general, political leader. Jar Jar does all of these things in one film, as does Gladiator. He's the savior of the story. He'll be the savior of the match. Jar Jar Binks is Gladiator.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm actually colour me convinced.
It's beautiful. Right?
You've done a surprisingly good job of making Jar Jar seem somewhere useful. Another way of looking at it, he had all those roles. He was being slowly promoted, which is exactly what you want with football, Clearly he's on the rise.
Gladiator, he actually went from general to outcast to political representative, whereas Jar Jar, constant uphill, outcast general politics. So Jar Jar actually does better than Gladiator. Didn't want to say it, but I've said it because I wanted to. Now, one final thing, obviously, about Jar Jar. He won't be captain because his commands will be way too confusing. He's not going to lose the ball on the left wing, okay, day. Like, what is he talking about? He's not going to be captain. All right. Next up, I move to defense and Chewbacca. Chewbacca, I mean, if you don't know him, he's the big furry guy. He's like an Ewok, but bigger. And if you knew what an Ewok was, but not Chewbacca, then what order have you seen which sections of these films? So, Chewbacca has a tactic. I will explain it to you now. He has to squint, so you can't really see his eyes. He has to close his mouth, put sunglasses on the back of his head, and instantly it looks like he's facing the other direction, okay? The enemy will assume he's facing the other way as they're passing him, and then surprise tackle! He was facing them the whole time. Because the Chewbacca, let's face it, if he put sunglasses on the back of his head, it'd look like that's the way he's facing. He's just one big furry thing. He's like Cousin It.
But doesn't he have feet?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So... Damn it. Stupid feet giving it away.
That was undone so quickly by one question.
Stupid feet. They're not helpful in football at all.
Oh, no.
I'd argue that actually the feet are almost certainly going to be looked at in football. It's not like, yeah, sorry, man. Maybe a long skirt.
Oh, man. Your skirt. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it's 2021. Yeah. Okay, Chewbacca's wearing a floor-length dress. And so you can't see his feet, and he's obviously got the dress on backwards, so he looks like he's facing the direction, and he surprises people all the time. Possibly only once, because they've figured it out pretty quick. So that's first tactic. Second of all, he's really tall. He's 2.3 meters tall, which I figure means he's good at headers. No jokes, that just kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, that works.
Actually,
out.
That works, that one, yeah. Also, it is commented on that he can pull people's arms off. So, if we're not doing too well, or if a penalty comes up, he then pulls the arms off the enemy goalie. and then the goalie's not going to be as good, is he? Ultimately, he'll end up in the sin bin. But actually, looking through the Star Wars films, Chewbacca ends up imprisoned many, many times. So I think he'll be okay with the sin bin. If that's where you get sent if you pull someone's arms off, right?
Yeah, I think so. Does he ever break out of prison in Star Wars? I'm not that familiar with the world.
Does he break? Actually, I think he always has to be rescued. In the Solo story, he gets rescued by Han Solo. In Empire Strikes Back, everyone's... Okay, so yeah, he does need someone maybe to help him out occasionally.
Also, Matt, sorry, just before we move away from this, you keep talking about the sin bin. That's in ice hockey. Ice hockey has a sin bin. If you get sent off in football, you're just off. You're gone. That's it. This is what is this? The 13th episode of this podcast or something like that. It's the 10th. This is the 10th episode of this podcast, and you still don't know that when you get sent off in football, that's it. You don't come back on.
There's no prison.
There's no football prison on the side of the pitch.
God damn it. Well, okay, now I know. It's a learning curve. We'll all get in there together. Well, you guys are already there. I'm behind. Fair enough. Okay, so he gets sent off permanently. Goodbye, defender. But don't worry. First of all, I don't have to worry about him being captain. He wouldn't be captain because his commands are too confusing. Yeah, so he's not captain. But you know what? I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about the fact that my defender's useless, facing the wrong way and giving it away, and also in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have one more defender. Kylo Ren. Now, this is the Adam Driver baddie from the newer movies. He's the one who kind of dresses like Darth Vader, but isn't Darth Vader, you know? Mm. Now, the most important thing about him as a defender, he won't let anyone in. For about 3 films, he just won't let anyone in, man. He won't open up to his father. He won't open up to Rey, who's talking to him all the time. He's just so closed off. So emotionally, he just won't let anyone in, which is important for a defender.
That's very solid.
It's pretty good, right? Now, there's a lot of Darths out there. He's pretty much a Darth, but yeah, so there's all these baddies, and I was like, how do I pick Kylo Ren over the others? So he has the same basic sort of look and skills as Darth Vader, but without the loud breathing that gives his position away. He has the same sort of skills as Darth Maul, but doesn't delay matches because he's doing his face painting.
I think that's just his skin, isn't it?
Darth Maul. I wasn't sure, is it a tattoo or face paint? I think
that's just his body. I think that's just the alien species that he is.
Right. Well, then he's being reconsidered. Okay. But I'll tell you something Darth Maul doesn't have. Darth Maul does not have the hair of Hector Bellerin. The hair... Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Hector Bellerin is a footballer, guys, and he has glorious hair, as does Adam Driver in the Star Wars films. And so that was my one football reference for the last 10 episodes.
Did you type into Google who has the same hair as
I just typed in who has amazing hair. In football, my Google search history for football, as you can probably tell, is not about tactics and like names of positions. All it is in my Google search history is who has the best hair. And it's Hector Bellerin, who plays for a team. So yeah, he has the hair of Hector Bellerin, but without any of the skills.
I have so Matt, how is it that you know Hector Bellerin's name, but you don't know how red cards work? Like, build up from the bottom.
Well, let's face it, I don't really know who Hector was. But yeah, okay, build up from the bottom. Red card. No, yeah, get it. Red cards. It's a permanent prison. Anyway, so Kylo Ren, he's got magic hands, which we know is helpful. Now, this is why I'm not worried about Chewbacca getting sent off pretty quick. Kylo Ren, he's allowed an accessory, not his lightsaber. His accessory is going to be one of those big Imperial walkers. Those are those like 30-meter tall robot dogs with laser guns attached to their heads. Okay? He has one in The Last Jedi, and he's like, pew, 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 and destroys like a million bits of land. He mainly shoots at the ground in it. But yes, so he's going to be in this giant 30-meter tall robot dog, defending the hell out of his goal.
I was, I was expecting a baddie. I thought you need a baddie. You need that aggression on the pitch. And I'm glad you didn't go for Darth Vader. The breathing problems, like you said, listen, not only the loud breathing, like you mentioned about sort of revealing his position, but also that's not a healthy man, is it? That's a man who has an asthma pump. Darth Maul, I just think he's a bit too aggressive. I don't think that you'd get the control out of Darth Maul that you really need. But I think that you've done it here with Kylo Ren. This is the best pick for me so far, Matt.
Thanks, man. Yeah, actually, I'm going to have Darth Maul as my tactician. He knows a lot about football because in the movies he gets cut in half, so he knows all about the importance of halves.
That's not.
So that is my tactician guy.
Wow.
Finally, though, as you probably noticed my little pattern, I have a captain, so it's going to have to be Kylo Ren. Right. He has control issues. He wants to rule everyone. He's a perfect choice for captain. Unfortunately, his diction is also pretty terrible. He has a sort of a bit of a roboty voice that sounds a bit sort of like, I feel so sad and I don't have any friends to tell. But other than that, I think he's a really good choice.
There we
captain,
go.
so
Lovely stuff. Have you got any backroom staff, Matt? Anybody behind the scenes pulling the strings?
Yeah, some backstage guys. When Yoda runs off and hides for millennia, I'm going to have BB-8. Now, he's the tiny little spherical robot in the new movies. He's just going to come on and mislead people into thinking he's the ball. I've for half time, I'm going to throw in my band option. It's the Mos Eisley Cantina Band. They're the ones who do it. I'm going to have R2-D2 on refreshments, as he did on Jabba's bang skiff. Leia also works on the bang skiff. She's actually working as the eye candy. And then when people go below deck to get some action, it's actually Luke tied up saying, find my exhaust port, it's no bigger than a womp rat. And finally, a lot of people might be thinking, why haven't I picked Han Solo? It's because his name isn't Han Teammate. And that is my choice.
Matt, it's a wonderful, wonderful selection. So just quickly, before we move on, talk us through your Fantasy 5.
In goal, Jabba the Hutt. On the attack, Yoda and Jar Jar Binks. And as defense, Chewbacca and Kylo Ren.
No midfield once again for Matt, but never mind. He's got the main one.
I don't understand it. What? You've got attack defense. How much space can there be in the middle of that?
Quite a third. Let's move on to Coming up after the break, we are going to Sam's Fantasy 5 Game of Thrones team.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.
So, team number 2 is Sam's Game of Thrones team. Sam, how has your picks been going?
Robin, it's been a very stressful week for me. I love Game of Thrones. I'm a big book reader. I watched the show as well. And there are so many characters that I considered for this team. As some of you may know, George R.R. Martin literally wrote Game of Thrones with so many characters on purpose so that it could never be made into a TV show because he was fed up of people butchering his books. And then they made it into a TV show.
Yeah, he nailed that, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I felt the problems of this. However, I think I have picked my defender. I'm going to start in defence. Now, lots of incredible fighters in Game of Thrones. Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer. Sandor Clegane, the Hound. These are feared fighters throughout Westeros, which is where a bulk of the people live. However, who beats both of them in one-on-one combat? It's Brienne of Tarth. That's right. She is a powerhouse. She's tall. She's muscular. Why in defense? Well, I'll tell you. Because her entire reason for being is to defend other people. She defends Renly Baratheon, who tries to be king. She defends Catelyn Stark. She defends Jaime Lannister. She makes an oath to defend Sansa and Arya Stark. She defends Pod, her squire with a big dick. She has given her life to
Does she
defend
defend
others.
Pod, her squire with a big dick, or is Pod, her squire a guy with a big dick? What one is it?
He has a big dick. She has never seen, for most of her years, she has not seen a big dick. Already.
Spoiler warning.
Her sword given to her by Jaime Lannister is literally called Oathbreaker. It's a sign that she doesn't break oaths. When she says she's going to defend someone, she does it. Sorry, Oathkeeper. Oathkeeper.
Oh, that makes
right.
more sense.
Sam, I have a question about all these people who she's defending throughout her career, her long, illustrious career as a defender. How many of them die?
Interesting question, and two different answers.
Okay.
Under her watch, none of them. One of them. One of them. However, that person, Renly, was killed by an evil magic spirit that she couldn't really do anything about.
Don't make the
and she
promise.
was actually accused of that murder, but got over it because, she didn't actually do it herself.
Yeah, okay.
She characteristic-wise, also she's honest, she's straightforward, she's determined, fiercely loyal to everyone she serves, and she is often underestimated. 2 words for you, Lewis Dunk. She's underestimated because she's a woman. She's a woman knight. She's like 7 foot tall, 300 pounds. She defeats everyone in her path. She's always also, this is very important, she's learning. She learns slowly to accept herself and others around her, and she becomes a leader as she learns. She literally is one of the people who leads, this is a big old spoiler.
Earmuff.
Yeah. Earmuff, yeah. She leads one of the leaders of the forces of Winterfell against the Night King and all of the others. Of course, they do end up winning, and then she becomes Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Again, another defensive position, promising to defend the king until the day she dies. She's a leader, and she's just such a natural born defender.
Does that mean she's going to be playing for you until the day she dies? Are you just going to struggle to get rid of her?
Yeah.
She's not going to retire. She's going to be there till she's sort of late 60s. Like what's the game there?
Well, yeah. Now you might think that's a worry, but may I refer you to Barristan Selmy, a legendary knight of the Kingsguard who is like 70 and is still one of the best fighters in the entire world. So it's fine.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to the 82nd birthday game of Brienne when she's still playing. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. We're going to move into the central midfield. Again, it's such a difficult position to pick because there's so many options. I and ahed about this one, but I have gone for Jon Snow. He's the glue. Yeah. He's just the glue that unites all of the players, all of the storylines, all of the nations, everything. He's talented. He's skillful. He's going to pull all the strings from midfield. We know that he's defensively strong because he can organise a wall. That's a good gag. He's one of the. He's a leader. He's one of the youngest ever Lord Commanders of the Night's Watch, who defend the wall. So he's got leadership abilities. He also becomes King of the North. He doesn't want these positions as well. He has leaderships thrust upon him because he is so good at leading people. He's not asking. He's not running around trying to actually gain these positions. They're put on him because he's so good at it. So it's why he's my captain, I think, as well. He also unites Dany and the Essos gang. He unites the wildlings with the Southerners for the first time in thousands of years. Awesome.
Yeah, there is, I would say, a significant downside for Jon Snow, which is that, famously, he knows nothing. He knows nothing. He knows nothing, does Jon Snow. I just think that's going to be a problem, that he knows nothing. No?
Yeah, but who dies quickly? Ygritte. That's right. So she knew nothing. And John lives to the very end. So
yeah, so take that, Ygritte.
also, there's a few things he doesn't know. He doesn't know that he's not a bastard. He thinks he's a bastard. That's why he has the Snow name. No, he's the rightful heir to the throne. Matt, shush your ears. He's Aegon Targaryen.
Shush your ears, Matt.
Shush your ears up. There is a downside, you might think, in that he does die, but he comes back. So we know he can play through injury. That sort of fortitude we need in the middle of the park. Lastly, as well, he's got a dire wolf. He's got a wolf the size of a bear. It's called Ghost, and in the books they don't really portray it much in the show. But in the books, he's called Ghost. A, because he's an albino wolf, but B, because he's completely silent. He moves with no noise. He doesn't ever growl or bark or anything like that. So you just don't see him coming.
Yeah, and to be fair, dogs love chasing balls, so...
Yeah, that's true.
That is partly why I thought about putting the hound in the middle of the park, but I just couldn't trust him. I couldn't trust him. We're going to move to the striking positions. I've got such a strong defender, such a strong midfielder. I'm going for two attacking roles. We're going for the little and large. It's the old school, what you were, back in the day, the 4-4-2, where you've got a big striker and a small striker. My small striker, Arya Stark. Yeah. Now,
excellent.
She may be young. She's a child prodigy. We all know this. She's always been into sports, way more sporty than some of her brothers. She's always been such a tomboy, and therefore she's secretly trained by Jon Snow, by Ned Stark. Ned Stark even gets, Ned, I'm not over it, guys. He gets beheaded. Series 1. Ned brings in Syrio Forel, who is one of the best swordsmen in the world, and she is taught nimble footwork. She's very nimble. She's also very, very quick. She moves to Braavos, and she is chased through the whole streets of Braavos. It's essentially a gauntlet training session. She can't be caught. And she's actually severely injured at the time. So just like Jon, she can play through injury. She trains blindfolded, let's not forget. She is so aware of her surroundings that she can fight whilst not looking. Half of Matt's team are running around with their eyes closed. Arya's going to be just as strong with her eyes closed as they are. She's also training to be a faceless man. Now, this is a type of kind of magic, a type of skill where people can look like other people. So Matt might be like, it's Darth Maul on the ball, passing to Kylo Ren. Oh, it's not Kylo Ren. It's Arya Stark. What? Mental. That's a great skill. Really difficult to mark that.
Doesn't she have to have killed the person, though, to wear their face? Isn't that the whole point?
Well, there is debate about this because that is often what they do. However, Jaqen H'ghar, who is assumed to be one of the leaders of the Faceless Men, actually wears Arya's face whilst talking to Arya at one point.
Right. But she's never done that. So she probably can't.
I don't think she's ever technically played football either, mate, but I think that she might be able to use that skill. Let's not forget as well. She's brutal as well. She killed the entire male lineage of the Frey family by using this skill. And close your ears again, Matt. She has the decisive moment at the end of all of Game of Thrones. She kills the Night King. And you didn't think that would have been possible to do, but she's so stealthy. She's like, Night King dead. Decides you want her in the last 10 minutes of that match. You know that she's gonna produce the goods for you at the end.
Yeah.
So she's my little, and next to her is another striker. She's not big, but some of her accessories are. Listen, it's Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, first of her name, Queen of the Andals and the First Men, Protector of the Seven Kingdoms, Mother of Dragons, Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, the Unburnt Breaker of Chains. Got enough names, much? They're all hyphenated. That's what will happen in about 2 generations of footballers, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, but with 17 more names on the end of it. She's up top. She's got 3 dragons, guys. She's got 3. I don't know if you've ever seen a dragon. They're big, not in real life, but in stuff. They breathe fire. They're massive, and they can fly. So good luck getting past that. She can ride them. I mean, if need be, John's allowed to ride one as well. John muscles up the skill to ride one. She's beloved by so many people. The whole of the East love her. She breaks chains. She frees slavers. She's got the will of the common person behind her.
As the referee here, I feel I have to step in and say that whilst accessories are allowed, I think 3 dragons brings into question whether these count as accessories anymore. I think she can have 1 dragon as an accessory, whereas further dragons, that's really pushing the limit of accessories. I'm going to say she can have 1 dragon, and you're going to have to pick which one.
Well, that's like saying you're only allowed to play with 1 football boot.
No, it's not. No, it's not. She's allowed to wear 2 shoes. As a referee, I will let her wear 2 shoes.
All right, then she's wearing
dragon.
a dragon as a shoe on each foot. No, Drogon. It's got to be Drogon. He's the biggest. He's the most powerful. He's the biggest dragon since Balerion the Dread. Let's not mess about. He's the most aggressive. Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I love Game of Thrones, mate. I love it. Oh, it's been so good getting back into the world.
Game of Thrones, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, so she's up top with her dragons. Also, Matt's got a series of underground tunnels under his pitch. I'm not worried about it. We all know that Daenerys was fine in the House of the Undying in Karth. It's effectively a maze. She got through it. No problem.
Yeah, she got through the maze, but was there a man-eating monster down there? Because there is in Matt's pit.
Yeah, there was loads of people trying to kill her and steal her dragons.
I stand corrected. Fair enough. Continuez-vous.
So she's up front. Then in goal, it's pretty obvious, to be honest. It's the wall. It's 500 kilometres long. It's 215 metres tall. It's 91 metres thick, so it's taken up most of the pitch. It separates the realm from the domain of the wildlings, thus separating the opposition from scoring goals. There you go. That's my goalie.
2 things, right? You're playing away today, so good luck getting that on the bus. Yeah. And 2, second half, what's going to happen? You've got the wall at one end of the pitch. You're going to rebuild it during that 15-minute break. Sam, you've not thought this through.
I got a few magicians on the pitch later.
A few?
On the bench.
You just said it wouldn't fall down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We also don't know yet where the home pitch is. That's coming in a moment. And so we don't know the temperature. So listen, if we're on a moon very close to the sun, that thing is going to be a puddle before the end of the game.
It's not fully made of ice, Robin.
Oh, is it not?
There's bricks and mortar in there as well. It is imbued with magic, and it is frozen over, and ice is added to the top of it by the Night's Watch over the millennia. Come on, read a book, or read 6 of them.
Look, but hang on, this is going to break protocol a second. But Matt, have you got a place for your pitch? Where is the pitch?
My pitch is going to be the rolling green hills of Naboo, which are covered in grass, which are green, which is how Yoda is going to look invisible.
Okay, all right, thanks, Matt. Sam, you've got to get this wall of ice to the planet Naboo.
Okay, fine.
On Matt's
right.
pitch.
I
then
thought this might
move it
happen.
at half time.
I thought this might happen. I've got what's bigger than a wall? A mountain. That's right. Instead, I've got the mountain. Okay,
right,
the mountain is a person. He's not an actual mountain.
Because in my head, I was like, no, Sam, you're not understanding the problem here. You're just making it worse for yourself.
It's the head of House Clegane. It's Gregor Clegane. He's the mountain. He's absolutely monstrous. You thought Chewie was big. Chewie is what was it? 2.3 meters. That's half a foot shorter than the 8 foot 500 pound wall of muscle and brutality. He has a temper. Yes, he does crush people's heads in with his hands, but you need that kind of tenacity when he's defending a corner. If he misses the ball and just crushes an attacker's head, oh well, never mind. I think we can channel that temper.
Also, if he can crush someone's head, then you know that he's going to be able to fully envelop the ball in his hands. Like if you've got hands big enough to go all the way around someone's head to crush them, you're going to be able to catch a ball easy. You've got big dinner plates.
That works the other way around as well. You know that if you can catch a ball, that you can crush a person's head. Also, like Jon Snow, he dies as well, but he comes back. And he comes back arguably more powerful. His temper is dulled, which is important, but his power and his fear is increased because he's now he's effectively necrotically invincible. And he's loyal as well. He's loyal to the cause. He fiercely defends Cersei Lannister. Yeah, I mean, he's got a Peter Schmeichel vibe about him if Peter had died and was evil.
So you are taking him post-death and, he's the reanimated mountain, not original OG mountain.
Oh, I might mix it up in different halves.
So you kill him at half time.
Yeah, you're going to kill him at half time, pump him with some toxin.
If he gets too angry, I'll kill him at half time.
Right.
That's my main bulk of my team. But as I said, there's so many people that could have made the pitch and are on the bench. Obviously, Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, very good in battle. Does lose a hand. but then becomes skillful with the others. So that's good. He's good in tourneys. We know this. He's also the big name star player. He's effectively David Beckham. Also, Rob Stark. He looks like a footballer, doesn't he? He looks like a footballer. He's trying to come out from the shadow of his dad, though. So I got 2 words, one of them hyphenated, is Sean Wright Phillips. He's incredible in the first half, but he might trail off pretty drastically in the second half. Grey Worm, he is a ferocious warrior, loyal beyond compare, loyal to Danny. He's elected by all of the Unsullied to be the leader, however, terrible ball control, because he's a eunuch. I'd like Oberyn Martell in there. He's vicious. He's sexy as hell. Also good to have an openly bisexual player in this era, I think. Davos Seaworth, was thinking about him. Very tactically astute, the Onion Knight. Awful in goal, because he keeps his fingers in a bag around his neck. Khal Drogo, Matt mentioned him. He's undefeated. He's fully undefeated in battle. Slight temperament issue, granted, and he does refuse to wear a shirt, which might be problematic
yellow,
on the pitch. Well, exactly. Now, the backroom staff, I've got some of the keenest tactical minds in all of the universes. All of them. I've got Tywin Lannister, master tactician, formidable warrior in his day. I've got Stannis Baratheon, keen strategist, defensive coach probably. Tyrion, he'd be amazing in press conferences. Bran the Broken, the three-eyed raven, the winged wolf. He has prophetic vision, so he can see not just the future, but the past, all people's past, present, and future, and can affect them. So he might just warg, which is when he kind of puts his mind into other people's bodies. He could just warg into all of Matt's players and just control them. So, good luck getting past that. I've got Peter Baelish. He's my director of football. He's a wheeler dealer, Harry Redknapp. And lastly, and very importantly, I've got a physio. You've got to have a physio. Yeah. It's Thoros of Myr, the guy with the big flaming sword. He brings Beric Dondarrion back from death 6 times. Not injury, from death. So that is a hell of a good physio. He uses the power of Rohalor, the god of light. I am awful. He used to be an alcoholic, so it's good that you can see that people can come out of addiction on the other side. He does also actually bring somebody else back from the dead. This is a giant spoiler warning for people who have not read the books. He actually brings Catelyn Stark back from the dead as well. Lady Stoneheart, who does not appear as this character in the show at all. So there's that. You might think that Melisandre also, she brought someone back from the dead, but all of her power effectively comes from a necklace. And you can't wear jewellery on the pitch. And if she doesn't wear a necklace, she's just an old woman.
You can't wear a necklace, but you can have 3 dragons and a wolf.
Can't have 3 dragons.
You can only have 1 dragon. It was very clear.
You can't wear a necklace, but you're allowed 1 dragon and a wolf. This is mad.
Yes, correct.
The rule
Referee
selection
ruling that.
here is absolute nonsense. Listen, Sam, you've got to clean up after your nerdgasm, so let's just quickly go through the final Fantasy 5.
I'm wearing my white, clean GOT Y-fronts. In goal, I've got Gregor Clegane the Mountain. Centre-back, I've got Brienne of Tarth. Central midfield, Jon Snow / Aegon Targaryen. And up front, I've got Arya Stark and Daenerys Stormborn.
It really smells of nerd in here.
Yeah, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go now to the pre-match thoughts and feelings. Pre-match thoughts and feelings. I'm going to go to our home team first. Matt, how are you thinking and how are you feeling?
Gosh, my feelings are pretty deep right now. I'm excited about my team. Now, as a tactical advantage to Sam, I had to put my fingers in my ears for the whole of his selection so that I didn't ruin Game of Thrones, which I'm just about to start. And so I'm excited to see who he's picked, what they're capable of, and what it could mean for my team.
Yeah, Matt basically going, I think I'm all right, but I have no idea. I love it.
Did he pick a bunch of naked people to close their eyes? Because then we're evens.
Yeah, he picked a load of naked people who can't speak English properly.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount of nudity and eyes closed. So
Really?
well done.
Oh, it's a good tactic.
Yeah.
Guys, we host a sexy podcast. Let's all calm down. It's a sexy podcast we've got. Sam, how are you feeling and thinking?
Well, none of Matt's team can see or talk to each other. So I've got to be honest, I think I'm the most confident I've ever been. And even if they can't talk to each other, I've got Missandei, who is a translator in about 10, 15 different languages. So I can understand them and they can't. Brilliant.
Amazing stuff. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Kickoff. Welcome to the green grassy fields of Naboo Stadium.
Green as a naked Jedi with his eyes shut.
Speaking of the devil, Yoda is now taking off his clothes and has never been so visible.
Yeah, that really is a lesson to us all. If you're 900 years old, naked and green, people are going to stare.
The players are getting ready, pre-match stretches and feeding time.
Jon Snow feeding a steak to his direwolf ghost, Daenerys Targaryen feeding a whole sheep to her dragon Drogon, and Kylo Ren topping up his 80-80 walker with unleaded.
He looks a bit like a robot doggy.
It really does.
And there's the whistle.
Oh dear! Jon Snow's direwolf has instantly gone for the ref.
It's a brutal, yet oddly silent murder. Seconds in, and this game is now without a referee.
From this point on, it is anything goes.
Arya Stark making some good progress with the ball down the left flank.
But Chewbacca has put glasses on the back of his head, and now his Chewbacca looks like a Chew-fronter.
It's enough to fool Stark and the... Sorry. It's enough to fool Stark as the Wookiee comes crashing in with a surprise tackle.
A giant, hairy, bear alien easily dispossesses the human child, and Chewie calmly passes to Jar Jar Binks. Brienne of Tarth with a solid pass to Jon Snow. Snow spots Targaryen surging forward on her dragon. Snow with a through ball. Targaryen fires both the ball and the actual fire from the mouth of the legendary lizard.
Oh, Jabba is engulfed in flames, blinded by the fire. He's got no chance at stopping that shot. It's in.
1-0 Game of Thrones, and the crowd goes wild.
Jabba smells like roast chicken.
But looks like melted slug.
Brienne of Tarth has been a rock in defence so far. These Star Wars forwards can't get anywhere near the goal and have been trying long-distance efforts that Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, is easily catching, and each time he does...
He pops it like a grape. Peter Baelish is actually now popping down to JD Sports to buy some new balls, because at this rate, I mean... Kylo Ren's giant robot doggy is walking painfully slowly up the pitch, chasing after the ball.
Here comes Daenerys Targaryen, still atop her dragon, uses the chains from the Great Pyramid to trip up the robot doggy.
Oh, downward it goes! A downward dog.
Look at that form! Must have taken some Bikram Yoda classes.
Well, the terrible design flaw in the robot means Ren will have to continue on foot.
Corner for Game of Thrones now. Snow looking seriously off into the middle distance, his hair blowing in the wind as he lines up to cross it in.
There's a lot of movement in the box. Brienne of Tarth is up for it, and with her height, she is always in aerial threat. Chewbacca marking her, two giants bumping up against each other. The sexual tension's actually quite something.
Jar Jar Binks is trying to keep tabs on Arya Stark, but he's quite shit at everything, and she's just great.
Snow whips it in. Brienne seems to be vowing that she will head the ball into the goal. She leaps over Chewbacca, connects and nods it past Jabba the Hutt. It's 2-0 to Game of Thrones.
If she makes a promise, she will keep it. What a player.
We are now nearing the end of the first half, and Jon Snow and Kylo Ren are jostling for possession in the middle of the pitch. It's getting a little tetchy.
Oh, Jon Snow unsheaths Longclaw, his Valyrian steel sword.
Kylo Ren ignites the crossguard lightsaber.
This is what the fans came to see. Two Master Swordsmen fighting over a football. This will be a battle for the ages. Oh,
the lightsaber there, easily cutting through the metal sword and most of Snow's ribcage. Jon Snow is dead, and Kylo Ren wastes no time in passing it to Yoda. Yoda with the force-powered volley. The Mountain can't get to it. Lovely goal. It's 2-1. Star Wars have pulled one back.
I can't believe he's dead. He had so much left to do.
And there's the halftime whistle.
The Mos Eisley Cantina Band here for the halftime entertainment, playing that one song they know on repeat for 30 minutes. And yes, there's a bewildering cameo from Ed Sheeran.
Now, we're just getting word from the Game of Thrones changing room. Thoros of Myr has apparently managed to tend to Jon Snow's corpse, and he will start again in the second half.
Yes, he will not be kept from his destiny.
The second half is underway, and it's all Game of Thrones. One player is frankly ruining it for Team Star Wars. The manager on the sidelines has got to be regretting starting Jar Jar Binks over, well, anyone.
Binks attempts a shot.
Binks goes for the header and connects with the pigeon that he was aiming for. If only he was paying attention to the game.
Binks with a long ball.
That long ball is a rugby ball, Robin, and I don't know where Binks got it from.
Daenerys Targaryen tries one from close range, but it sinks into Jabba's form like marshmallow into hot custard. It dribbles out of the goalkeeper, and under pressure, Chewbacca hoops it blindly up the pitch. And there's only one player up there, it's Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar is frozen in fear as the ball lands at his feet and the mountain begins charging off his goal line. This is not going to end well.
Jar Jar, still stiff as a board, floats off the ground. He's flying.
I don't think he's doing anything. Look at Master Yoda, eyes closed, hand outstretched. He's got a hold of Jar Jar with the Force. Oh, and
Jar Jar turns upside down in the air. Yoda is lining his teammate up like a golf club and, whack!
4.
He chips the ball over the advancing keeper and it bounces over the line.
It's a goal for Jar Jar Binks.
Is it, though?
Jar Jar scores! Jar Jar scores!
Does he?
It's 2-2 and everything's to play for.
Daenerys Targaryen whips across into the box. Jon Snow is all lined up for a perfect header. His time to shine. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Targaryen and Snow teaming up in this climactic moment, and
Arya Stark appears from nowhere and heads it past Jabba. Goal! It's a strange reaction from the crowd.
the fans don't know what to think. They're happy the Game of Thrones team have scored so late in the match, but a lot of them just thought it really should have been Jon Snow.
But it is Arya Stark with the killing blow. Her years of training have paid off. A great culmination to her meteoric rise through the ranks of this team.
It's not to say that these fans don't like Arya. I think they should just felt it really should have been Jon Snow. It would have felt more complete, more in keeping with how the match was building up if it had been Jon Snow.
But it wasn't. It's called a surprise. Stop whining about it.
I'm just saying that the prophecy of the prince that was promised...
It's 3-2 to Game of Thrones, and there's the final whistle. It's all over.
I mean, yeah, I'm happy they won. I just feel like there was a lot of threads left hanging. Like, why bring Jon back if he doesn't do anything in the second half?
Back to the studio.
So, there we go, an amazing game between Star Wars and Game of Thrones. Matt, commiserations. I'm so sorry that you got denied in the final minutes there.
Oh, so close to the end there, but I guess ultimately we now realise that Rego wizards beat space wizards.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, I guess there's got to be some regret over the Jar Jar Binks decision.
It's decisions like that that are putting me a lot lower down the leaderboard than the rest of you guys, yeah.
But listen, Sam, congrats. That puts you pretty high up the table now. How are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I'm delighted that there was a conclusion to the match and we got to know what happened at the end, because I've been waiting 10 years for the books to finish, mate.
Well, as I mentioned the table, and unbelievably, it puts Tom and Sam joint first at the table, at the top of the table with 7 points a person. Then it's me with 6 points, and at the bottom of the table, it's Matt with just the 1 win, 3 points for Matt.
Jar Jar forever.
Which does mean that next week's episode is going to be an absolutely massive one. So join us next week when we've got rock stars versus wrestlers, and it's Sam versus Tom playing in that game. It's going to be absolutely massive. I hope you are feeling the weight of the occasion, guys, as we head into next week. And let us know, everybody, what you thought of today's teams or the result on social media. We're at Noise Next Door on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, I believe. And listen, we'd love to hear from you. A massive thanks as ever to our producer, Paul, for making us sound fantastic and handsome. And please follow Fantasy 5 on your preferred podcast provider. Give us a 5-star review if that's something you can do. So we will see you next week, and it is time for us to hit the showers.
Aye, he's taking forever in there.
A lot of shampoo to use, he has.